Welcome back to Seablock. Today, quickly, we're going to already remove off camera the washing plants and everything else. So we now are able to basically consider what we do with that. I think what we're going to do, I'm going to move this from over here. I don't want that there anymore. And we're going to feed in stuff into this side. Here is our sort of pipe work. Is that, let me just press R here. That is one of the inputs. Good. So dirty water, mud water is going to be coming in here essentially. And what I'm probably going to do is also, I suppose I could feed in water from this pipe over here. That might actually work if it's long enough to be connected. It is not long enough to be connected. So I'm going to have to reroute some pipe work around here a little bit. I think I'm going to have a separate source of water just so that I don't get any issues coming up from that one. So we're just going to feed that water in over here somewhere. I want to say like that. Yeah. And then... ooh, that would connect. Yeah, that will connect. Let's just actually run this the other way around. Let's just use underground belt. There we go. And that makes things a lot simpler as far as routing the pipework is concerned. So that can just go straight with like this. Yep, however we decide to do that is fine. So we've got clean water coming in on the, was it the bottom output input? Yeah, and then the mud water coming in at the top. So I'll just put a couple of pipes down just so we know where those are coming in. And you can see them right there. Yep. And then on the output, we're going to want probably belt. We're going to want belt for, I don't know, do we want the earth? I think we want the earth going out. So now we just need to set up the washing plants on the inside in the same way we did before. Remembering that the output we're going to need at the top as well. So we're going to need the output to be probably right here. So it's going to be like here. And that means next to the top on this side. Okay, so that's going to be our... what is it now? Hydrogen sulfide gas. So I'm going to arrange everything in here and bring you back in a second and let's see if that works pretty well. Well, that's all now set up. You can see my boilers down here are running out of fuel a little bit, so we do need to improve this setup, but that's why we're doing green algae processing. That makes us the next tier of, basically the next tier of green algae up, and basically, well, the algae farm anyway, and that should be pretty much faster. That's crafting speed of 1, and then if we have a look at our existing one, in fact, let's just look in here. Algae farm, are you going to be terrible by comparison? You are crafting speed of 0.75. So yes, we are going to get quite a bit of a boost there in terms of our algae output, and that should mean a direct conversion into wood pellets, into wood bricks, and around we go. Anyway, while that's happening, and these are still getting a little bit started, I finish off the rest of this, and this is running inside just as we did outside. The hydrogen sulfide is going up the top. Everything else we don't need. This is all liquid outputs which aren't actually in use because everything goes down to the end, into the clarifier, and then all the mud comes out, gets converted into grass, and goes straight out the bottom. So there should be plenty of room in here. Let me just remove that, and let's put them somewhere else. So one on this side, and one on this side. There should be plenty of room in here for more rows of this. If I reverse this around, I can at least fit a row in here, because we can see that's exactly where this one ends, right there. So if we spin them upside down, if you like, and have the water on the inside, we just need to feed this pipe down to about here and feed them out. And then all we need to do then is figure out a way of getting this belt sorted. And you can see up here, there's a little bit of a difficulty here getting everything fitting in, but it works fine, and that's the most important point. So this is producing just as we did outside, just in a much more compact area, which we can then pick up grass and well, put that down wherever we actually want to, and get some of my power poles back, more to the point. Anyway, with that done, we need to move on a little bit further. So moving on, first of all, we're going to get rid of this guy. This is going to, well, this was producing combined, basically the precursors to copper and iron. We're going to get rid of all of that, and that's going to go away. That's going to go away here. It's going to go away here. All this line is nicely cleaned up, because inside, you'll see in a second, that isn't really doing anything anymore. Right there is the output here, and it's being cut off because I removed it all. I am just going to get rid of all of you, and obviously less power burden, but also now that we've got mineral sludge, I don't think we're going to need that slag anymore, except to go through the mineral sludge line. We're not going to want to just process it into crushed stone. So all that can go away. Here you can see this is all shut down. So all of you can go away. Oh, this feels so nice. And this does give me a little bit more room if I want to scale up the mineral sludge a little bit more. We have more room inside. So that's all gone. Good. And you can see right now the output of this I think is maxed. Yes, we're not using up our slag slurry enough. On the outside, we've got lots and lots of extra slag available, which is good in some respects. On the outside, that slag slurry, remember, goes all the way up here and goes into here. So the slag slurry is maxed here. This is running at full speed and is basically constrained by the output, which means we need more of these, which I've just removed this one right here. And I've got a whole mess of just stuff here, just various stuff I need to get rid of. Not that one, but you know, others I need to get rid of. There we go. And yes, so we should, I think, let me just move that down one. There we go. We should have a nice amount of room. Now we can just add another one of those over this side. So just get the crystallizer around the same kind of area, and that should work. Now we can copy this recipe across if we like, and I have quite a lot of copper up here, so I could temporarily just switch this to this, okay? And then we're going to be able to feed in like that. And then all I need to do is connect up the pipework. Now, of course, this isn't going to be permanent. It's just that I've got a large amount of copper, and we may as well get rid of it for the moment, and you know, basically restart it later. And more importantly, it means that we get iron out of this. So we are now producing more iron producing ore. Yep. And remember, this does produce a little bit of copper as well. So, you know, it's mostly iron, however. And that does mean I probably want to... well, is this constrained by output? I think it is. Maybe a little? No, not at all. So technically I only need one sorting plant here because the other one is purely for the copper ores, and of course we get both out of this anyway. So for now I'll just take that out as well, and that'll clean things up there. And of course we can put it back in whenever we want to, and this is just going to carry just that one ore quite handily there, and I'm just going to send it that way. Okay. I'm just clean things up there. Yeah, so things are looking a little bit neater. And of course, that's going to produce me some more iron and some copper as well. And we'll then be able to use that out there. Now, if I can max this out with enough ores coming out of it, and that depends on mineral sludge, of course, then we can put another one of these in and then go back to having two here, or even further, well, more likely, one out here, and start to extend outwards as we actually go. Now, there's a problem with this whole thing of using these two crystallizers here, in that they're going to they should start depleting the mineral sludge. And they aren't right now, so we need another one, which is good. I don't mind adding more. But as soon as they do, this setup right here is going to become a problem, because it's the next thing back in the chain. And you can see right now it's running at full speed. Now, is it depleting the slag slurry? It is not. Which means that we need more of these. We need to empty that input and just feed as much on the output as we can. And you can see right here, I've got another crystallizer for our tin plate, and that goes up there into that tin line. So we are going to be moving that out here, along with everything else, fairly soon. But for right now, we want to basically deal with potentially needing more of these filtration units. And that's a problem because over here, see over here, this is our sort of filter center, where it's basically recycling filters. So there's two ways to deal with it. One is to have like a sort of setup which just has the belt, and then another belt with the filters on, and it goes around in a circle. That works pretty well, to be honest, but it makes it really hard to try to fit it in here. So I need to have a bit of a think about how I actually fit that in as time goes on. The filtration unit obviously needs a lot of inputs and outputs. It's got two outputs. There we go, mineral sludge. They got sulfuric wastewater. Two inputs being the purified water and the slag slurry. So yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on it for the next few minutes. I'll see what happens as far as balancing is concerned, and then we'll figure out how many more of these we need. One thing you'll probably find if you're actually following along is you will eventually run out of mineral sludge because you've probably got a bottleneck over here in the hydro plants. So I've set up a couple of clarifiers on the output. I'm just getting rid of the outputs of these entirely because, well, one of them is on an overflow valve, I should say, so it won't go, you know, until it's over 80% of the pipe. The other one is just going to go straight away into a clarifier because down here we're going to be short on hydrogen sulfide. Now that is then used to make sulfuric acid, which is then used to pretty much make all of your mineral sludge, the slag slurry, this stuff first, the slag slurry. So for that, we're going to need to just expand the stuff in here, the washing plants, but we're going to do it by not basically have the full processing line, because I don't really care that much about the mud, although we will take it anyway, but I don't really care that much about it. What I do care about is the hydrogen sulfide that comes out of these. So we're going to set up something along the next lines here that is just going to deal with it. So I've moved the clarifier for this top line down here, and it's just going down by some pipes and made a little bit more room. You can see I've got some room up here. That's because we're going to need to make more pipes, and let's get those on the go. We're going to feed in the dirty water, the mud water as before, and the clean water as before, but now we're just going to clarify this output. So if I just go and then put this clarifier, let's say down here, in line, as far down as I can get it, probably. Yeah. And then what we'll do is we'll run a few of these along this way with the same recipe. The only difference is I'm going to have to feed in the dirty water one way and everything else the other way, and it should be doable, but we're going to clarify the output. So we're going to connect the outputs like this. Okay, and then we'll have basically another set of pipes running the other way, so that way. Okay, and you get the idea, hopefully. Let's just get that. Actually, I've got a straight pipe, have I? Just to connect this up. Yep, so you can see I've got hydrogen sulfide there ready to go out, as well as some basically some mud. Okay, and then I'm going to be able to filter everything that way. I think I am. If I get this going this way for now. Okay, and then if we go that way. Whoops. There we go. That should connect everything. Aside from the mismatched pipes, that should all be now connected. And there we go. So that's feeding the output. We've now got our heavy mud water, which we can feed out of here. Like that. Well, not heavy mud water, sorry, just the mud. And we've got to find a way to get that where we want it. I suppose we can just go underground and maybe do something funky here. Let's just get that up from there. And maybe something like that. Okay, and then we'll just put a just put a splitter there just to rebalance everything. Not that it should need it, you can just put the belt then onto there as well. So that's that up and running, and then we should be able to just create some more that do exactly the same thing. Unfortunately, because of the way that these washing plants work, you can't just mirror them like that. They have to go a certain way, so you're going to need to leave a little bit of extra space. In fact, I'm going to need one more space to actually do that. Yeah, because you can't just have them flipped. If I just move this recipe around here, if I rotate, what you'll see is then I need the top I need the water at the top, not the hydrogen sulfide. So I'm going to need to basically just copy and paste that so that it is exactly the same. And that doesn't mean I'm going to need to get the dirty water in there somehow and the clean water, but that should be more a problem of routing pipes than anything else. So I'm off to do that, and I'll bring you back once it's all done. And here you can see we're nicely constrained on slag slurry again because everything's now running. And in here we've got 3 washing plants, which is starting to supply hydrogen sulfide. You can see there's not much of it here, but it is even that small amount is enough to keep everything fed. Remember, the stuff drawing off this pipe as well, so it is being used, and it's a little bit higher than it was, which is good enough to get everything really sort of back stuff further up the chain. So here we now have our slag slurry again. We have our mineral sludge, which is not constrained yet. But given that the slag slurry is, now we have a shortage on this because all this mineral sludge is being used. I've reorganized out here so everything looks a lot nicer, and you can see everything is nicely lined up. And I like this a lot nicer. It's just very nice when things like this happen. So from here, we're going to need to basically reproduce these, and that's where I'm going to need to basically rearrange stuff. So I've got more than enough tin plate for the moment, so I will just take that out of the way, and we are going to I'm going to move that later. For now, we don't care about it all that much. Gives us a bit more room. Okay, and I've still got steel up there. It's just like a weird furnace just on its own, but that's fine, because here we now can see we have our mineral sludge. So we're going to want to feed that somewhere else. I'm probably just going to make room for it. So if I just get all of this coming out here for a second, I'm going to feed it so that it goes underground over here somewhere. Just so it connects with this. Okay, and that should work perfectly fine. And then if we just bring our pipe work up here, I should be able to connect across. We'll just use stone pipe or something. Doesn't much matter. And there we go. Okay, it's all connected. And more importantly, there's a nice free space here. That free space is going to be important. We'll need to deal with a few other bits and pieces and probably rerouting this around everywhere else. But most importantly, of which I need to basically deal with inputting some of the full filters and outputting some of the empty filters and dealing with that somehow. Okay, step one, move all the flare stacks out of there that I can. I do have another one here that I can probably... Ooh, can we actually get rid of that one? I think we can, just about. Let's put the flare stack back down. Ooh, no, we can't. No, I want an overflow valve there. So I guess I'm going to have to put it here. That should work. Maybe. Maybe not. No. I'm going to need some place to put this, and I just don't have enough room anywhere. I can get rid of something, I'm sure. Why don't I just put the overflow valve there? I'll get a bit of room there. Okay, let's put the flare stack back. Okay, it gives me a little bit of room around about here, which is where I actually need it. And you can see right here is where we actually want to get the filters. So I've rearranged the output here. So the output of these, the empty filters, is going to go onto this belt, back down here, currently into this box, but we'll probably just actually erase the box and put it through. I think the box is there as a filter, is to deal with the actual amount of them more than anything else. So that I'll leave that as it is. And then on the output, we're going to feed that just basically out onto another line. Okay, and we're going to get rid of this one here, and then we're going to need to feed in across this, and that's where things get a little bit more complicated, because one, I've just run out of belt, but two, I need to route these pipes properly. So I need to just get this going this way, and I think then we're going to need an inserter that is basically a long-headed inserter. So pick up, drop, and that way, like that. Okay. And that's going to work just as before. So full on the bottom, empty on the top, and everything goes around in a circle. I will, of course, need to go underground at certain points like this. Otherwise, we should be able to route the cables. Now, do I have another one of these filtration units? I do. So hopefully everything should just fit, he says. Maybe. Let's just try and fit this together. We'll just use this kind of connection that should fit that output. I'm going to need some underground belt, so let's get that as well. There we go for that, meaning that I can then join all this together. So that can go to there, this to there, and that should all fit. You're connected. Plays in the way. You're connected. Give it the same recipe, and then I think we should be able... Ooh, there might be a problem there. we need to feed stuff in here somehow, and I think that's going to be, that's going to be a bit of a tough one. I'm going to need to move it to here. Okay, and then I'm going to need to be a bit against my own advice. I'm going to have to make it pick up 1 and drop 2, so it's going to have to extend at the same time as it actually does everything else, but it should work. You're short on filters. Why are you short on filters? because I removed this production inserter right here. So why don't we just pick this up, get it to pick up from the right place, and there we go. Okay, so off it goes. That's going to pick up and drop into there. This is then going to let me feed in, well, not feed in, but just do this. Okay, and then here we'll have the same thing. We can just do the usual kind of sort of split inputs onto our various machines. And that's going to look quite well. We just need a few more bits and pieces, one of which is power, but mainly just another inserter. And we'll just copy and paste the same thing for the inserters. Okay, and that's running, I think. Which would mean we should get twice as much mineral sludge if we, of course, don't run out of our input, which is slag slurry. And again, in very, very little time, we're now up to 4 crystallizers, and we're still not out of mineral sludge here. We've still got some on the input. So we have 4 of those, and because each one of those basically are ore crushers can deal with more than one output of these, we've just got 2 of them feeding into a single ore crusher. And you can see that's waiting on input. Whenever it goes red, it's waiting for input. And that's all working fine. And you'll see those all are moving around, and they're all being fed directly into this, which is our ore sorting facility. And it's still not backed up. As soon as it does, then that'll be cool, but we're not there yet. And I don't think these are ever going to have problems, but just in case, I'm just going to set this to the offset on the other side. And there we go. So that's fine. We should get plenty of iron. Yep, 500 so. In fact, that's 1300 iron. So lots and lots more stuff coming through. You can see we're already started to back up on the inputs here. So it shouldn't be much longer before we're starting to build out. And this is quite important. This stage of the game, when you move across from mineralized water across really into mineral sludge, is probably the biggest jump forwards, as far as I remember anyway. It's the biggest jump forwards. People can probably say otherwise. I think we're just out of mineral sludge now, so yeah, we're just through that, so we can add more. We're out of slag slurry as well, so it looks like we are using all the input, which is good. Is that because we're out of hydrogen sulfide again? Doesn't look like it. No. What are we? We're just at full speed here, are we? Yeah, looks like we are at full speed, and it's consuming it all. So at this point, all you need to do is, assuming we have enough input here, we can just basically add another one of these, and then feed into this same output. Now, do I have room for this? Not particularly, but remember, I did remove the stuff from here. So do we have a chemical plant here somewhere? Not enough ingredients. Oh, I'm making the acid outside. So yeah, all thing I need to do here is reroute this copper pipe up here somewhere, along with an array of these, or probably just 2 to start off with. And then I just need to belt the slag up there, exactly how it was before, in fact, probably heading up this way, and then having our output pipe on the outside. So that shouldn't be a problem. We can rejig this, and I'll bring you back in a second. And that's what we're going to be leaving it for today's episode, because I'm running out of power. Now, to do with power, I want Algae Farms Mark II, basically. The only problem with that is that they take circuit boards. I made one, but I've got one of these circuit boards left, and we can't make replacements until electronics is actually off research. It's on research at the moment. And you'll see right now, I'm not backstuffed on the algae, otherwise that will be that. I can just sort of modify this a little bit just by basically doing this. And that will get it up to full speed, at least as far as this factory can actually deal with at the moment. But later we are going to have to basically deal with this. This is just not anywhere near as much as I need to be. So I think what I'm going to have to do is separate them out into a separate factory, and maybe have a separate one with yet more Algae Farm Mark 1s, and basically have just this dedicated stuff coming out of here. We can already get this ourselves, the cellulose fiber, have that being combined in a third plant or something along those kind of lines, because this just isn't quite enough. It sometimes catches up. I've got these burner inserters so we don't get a feedback problem, but it's still obviously cycling backwards and forwards between what we can actually use and what we are currently using. Mainly, of course, these particular things consume or use a lot of power. 155 kilowatts each. So we've got 4 of them. That's the extra 300 kilowatts here just from processing this extra stuff. So we can save a little bit of power, at least for a short term. but longer term we have to deal with that. So I'm going to wait for electronics to come up, and then we can then look at crafting electronic circuits. So that's just the basic electronic boards, but that requires other stuff in the chain, so we're going to have to deal with electronics in general pretty soon. In the meantime, as soon as I hit 500 iron plates, which happens fairly often now that I am on this, that's 232, 240, 239, 242. We are going to probably move something else into a building. Not so much the power. I'm more inclined to do, well, probably going to be another algae building. I think I'm going to take the land that we're going to get, and we're going to go down, because the algae building is down here, and just make this larger like this. Okay, and we'll have another building here, because all we need is an input of water, and that's it. The algae buildings don't take anything else. They're really, really simple, and of course we can make lots of them as is. So I can make a few of those in my inventory and get another building set up. And at that point we can probably, instead of combining the stuff inside like this, we'll just have this line right here, this cellulose fiber line, going straight outdoors, or maybe into the furnace. Yeah, into the furnace, and probably just exporting the charcoal. Something like that should be fine. Either way, we'll get it outside, and then we'll be able to combine, basically get a steam boiler to deal with the final step, moving into carbon, etc. And we can probably fit that in around about here and sort it out. But for now, we've done a whole bunch of optimization today, and I'm just going to put that power pole back just so I don't forget about it. One there. Yes, so we got a whole bunch of optimization today, getting things up to speed. It's just that we don't have the power to supply all of it yet, and that's something we have to sort out next episode. But for now, hopefully you've enjoyed that. You can see you've got mineral sludge on the output there. We can deal with more of these if in case we have enough power to anyway. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. So give it a thumbs up if you have. Subscribe, share if you normally would. And of course, if you want notifications, click on the bell below the video. Otherwise, looking forward to see your comments. People saying I'm doing things wrong. That normally happens quite often. And we'll see you next episode for some more Seablock. As always, guys, thanks for watching.